Okay, welcome back to this tutorial of the T-Compose node from the TrixOne plugin package. We will now cover the controls to simulate light bounces from the background on the front element. Light bounces from the background on the front element are a natural effect that we can see in the nature. They are always visible, even in a small amount. And when it comes to compositing, simulating these effects can make all the difference when you compose an element on a footage and want to create the illusion that it was really here. So let's get a new T-Compose node and connect it to our elements. And as you can see, by default it already brings back some backlights on our front element, and we can see the difference between the original KeyMix and the T-Compose node, which we haven't adjusted yet. You have 5 different backlights control. Let's talk about the 4 first one that you have here. They act on our front element at different scales and in different luminance ranges. This way you have a full control to create the effect you want. To split different luminance ranges, you have to use this key. We can check this key right here, and we can see that it splits our image into 3 RGB luminance ranges. The low values are displayed in the red channel, the midtones are displayed in the green channel, and the highlights are displayed in the blue channel. So we're gonna make small adjustments to our key, and now that we've adjusted it, we're gonna make changes to our backlights. Once again, all these backlights are already set up to work correctly, and we recommend to use them softly to have a natural result. For each of these backlights you can display the effect alone. Then you can change how deep light scatters inside the front element, and then you can change the intensity of the effect. Alright. The global backlight covers a large part of your front, but it's supposed to be composed very lightly. On the opposite, the edge backlight is thinner, but is more visible. Then you have the low backlight that only affects the shadows of our front element. It uses the key that we have adjusted here, and we can check the mask of the low values in where the effect will be applied here. And finally we have the high backlight that only affects the highlights of our front element. We can adjust it just like for the low backlight. And again, you can see the huge difference with these backlights and with the simple KeyMix node. Okay, all these backlights parameters that we've adjusted simulate how the entire environment affects the front element. But sometimes very bright areas in the background affect even more the front element, like the sun, a spotlight, or a bright sky behind the front. This effect can be simulated in this second panel, the back panel. To try this effect, we're going to add a bright spot behind the robot. And as we connect a yellow spot, you can see how it immediately generates some backlight. This is because the effect is activated by default. And if we deactivate it, you can see the big difference it makes. So the first thing to do is to isolate the highlights in our background with this key. Only the white parts of this mask will emit some backlight over the front. Then to adjust our highlight, you can display the matte of the background emitting the backlight, or display the effect on the front element. You can then adjust simply the size of the effect, the saturation and the gain of the source, and you can fade the entire effect. Finally, the method menu controls how this backlight is composed. With the classic mode, the effect is clearly visible. We can see that the yellow spot spills light on the front, but the silhouette next to the bright spot remains unchanged. We can still see it. If you change the method to additive, it will boost the backlight, and the front is even more affected by the source. One more thing about this backlight. This effect is designed for highlights in the background to scatter over the front. But for special needs, backlights could be emitted from midtones or the shadows of the background. In this case, the wanted range should be selected here. It will be displayed with the check, and it will act as the actual source of backlights. And here's the final result of this compositing. And look at the difference it makes between this compositing and the simple Kmix node. And one last thing, as you know, the T-Compose node is designed to merge a front element on a background, and it adds some effects. But it's also possible only to use these effects, just like the color match tool or the light bounces, but without merging the front on the back by unchecking this box. This can be useful if you need process to be done before the actual merging operation. This parameter also lets you combine multiple T-Compose nodes in case you have to adjust the light bounces differently in specific areas of your image. You can find out more information and video tutorials on our website at softwares.circus.fr. Thanks for watching.